The highly anticipated show Percy Jackson and the Olympians is finally in production, and fans are ready to return to the world of Greek mythology in the modern setting. So let's have a look at things that we know about the upcoming series so far. The book's fans were begging for a faithful adaptation for many years, after the disappointing and later cancelled movie starring Logan Lerman, Alexandra Daddario, Brandon T. Jackson, and absolute icons like Pierce Brosnan, Uma Thurman, and Sean Bean. The planned movie franchise was shut down after the second movie, Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, which was released in 2013. The movies were criticised for not following the novels and creating a completely new interpretation of Percy's story. There was always a hope that the books would be actually adapted, and Disney Plus, in cooperation with Rick Riordan, started to work on a faithful adaptation of the books. Rick was very skeptical to agree because of the whole fiasco with the movies. He said in an interview, "I'm not a fan of Hollywood. I've never been starstruck. I couldn't care less about TV and film, honestly, but that's not true of my fans. They really wanted new adaptations and they felt bitterly disappointed by the movies. However, at the end, he felt like he owed a good adaptation to the fans and agreed to work with Disney and bring the stories to the big screen." Percy Jackson and the Olympians was officially green-lighted in 2022, and Riordan, together with Becky, became executive producers of the show. After getting the approval from Disney, the hunt for the heroes of the show began. There was one rule which had to be followed. The stars had to be selected from the same age range as their characters in the books, which wasn't the case with the movies. At the beginning of his heroic journey, Percy is supposed to be 12 in The Lightning Thief, and Logan Lerman was 18 when he was cast. The producers didn't want to make the same mistake. Rick said in an interview, "The goal is to stay true to the original story and have Percy's character age from 12 to 16 over the course of the TV series. Assuming, of course, we are lucky enough to make 5 seasons. The very first person who was introduced from the cast was Percy himself. The chosen one was Walker Scobell. According to Rick, Walker fits the role like a glove because he has the qualities which make Percy so beloved by the fans: snark, rebelliousness, sweetness, and all the need to be a hero and save everyone. The snark and sassiness is no surprise, as Walker was exposed to Ryan Reynolds' attitude for a prolonged time when they worked together on the Adam Project and became a sarcastic trouble. What's more, Walker is a big fan of the series, which could be seen when he was wearing the orange t-shirt of Camp Half-Blood when he was told the news about him being cast in the show. Walker at D23 promises the fans that he'll try hard to bring Percy to life for all of the fans. Almost a month later, Leah Savage-Jeffries and Aryan Simhadri were introduced as Annabeth Chase and Satyr Grover Underwood. The trio met and took a photo together, which was shared on social media, and some people weren't happy because the actors don't exactly fit the physical descriptions of the characters they portray. Percy is supposed to have dark hair and sea green eyes, and Annabeth blonde hair with stormy grey eyes. Rick wrote on his blog, "If you have a problem with this casting, however, take it up with me. You have no one else to blame." The former wise girl, Alexandra Daddario, also gave her 2 cents in and wrote on her Twitter that Leah will be incredible as the daughter of Athena. The cast kept expanding. All the actors proved that their casting wasn't a coincidence, and they really have everything needed for portraying the demigods. Walker especially, where he completely embodied Percy's sassy nature in a 13-second long video. But there was someone who was awaited for a very long time because there were so many fan casts. It was the role of the god of the seas, Poseidon. The fan casts include Oscar Isaac, Paul Rudd, or Hugh Jackman. But the fan favourite was the one and only Logan Lerman. The fans wanted Logan to appear in the show as his acting in the movies was on point. Logan expressed an interest to be in the project, but at the same time he denied his involvement. Ultimately, this time the fans were left disappointed. Logan wasn't cast. Instead, they chose Toby Stephens. Another slightly controversial choice for the role was the casting of Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hermes. New memes hit Twitter and the fans theorized that Hamilton doesn't exist in Percy Jackson, or Hermes actively decides to look like Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he might start delivering messages in rhymes and turn the show into a musical. Undoubtedly, it would be funny if Hermes started rapping out of nowhere. What's more, the fans might be aware that Hermes doesn't show up until the second book, but Riordan quickly made clear that there's a reason the writers decided to include the gods sooner than expected, and that we'll understand when the time comes. Not all 12 Greek gods were cast, as many of them don't appear in The Lightning lightning thief, which means that they won't appear in the first season and will be cast later. The filming started in June 2022, and the main source of the behind-the-scenes information is Rick Riordan himself, who would often share small glimpses of the set. The sign with "Welcome to Camp" written on it, the view in the camp, or the chairs for the cast and the crew. While filming, Disney and the cast celebrated Percy's birthday, which is on August the 18th. Disney lit blue lights on the Empire State Building in New York to honor Percy Jackson. The location wasn't chosen by Disney by mistake. Mount Olympus is located on the 600th floor, but the cast wasn't far behind and shared a photo of the main trio to celebrate the special day. And Walker made the celebration even more personal. He shared photos of famous blue-colored cakes, which create like a half of Percy's personality. It's needless to say that the fans were delighted with all the attention centered towards their beloved character. The cast and the crew didn't leave the fans craving some Percy content for too long. The first teaser trailer was released in September, where the iconic words were spoken.
Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood.
The words gave the fans chills, and the excitement for the show grew even more. We got to see Camp Half-Blood, where Percy arrives after unfortunate circumstances, and interestingly enough, he goes straight to the unoccupied Poseidon cabin, which confuses the other demigods because no one ever lived there. The first season is supposed to adapt the first novel of the series, The Lightning Thief, which follows a 12-year-old demigod Percy Jackson on his quest of finding the lightning bolt of the mighty Zeus. He finds help in Annabeth and Grover, and together they travel America to clear Percy's name from Zeus's accusation of stealing his powerful weapon. Riordan jokingly wrote on his blog, "The filming has followed the book's story very closely, almost as if the author were involved himself." According to him, there are some small changes with the purpose of adding value to the show. Percy's story will be enriched by his family's history. There'll also be more backstories of the characters, foreshadowings, and Easter eggs. Let's not forget that Rick is returning to the original story after 20 long years after he wrote the book, which gives him a unique opportunity to address the commonly asked questions of his readers. As the fans know, Percy becomes a very skilled swordsman, and with Riptide, which always appears in his packet, are a duo to be feared. But those skills had to be acquired. To portray the character, Walker had to learn how to fight with a sword, and a video of his training was shared. Walker said in the interview, "One of the training for the stunts was playing ping pong with swords. It was surprisingly not as hard as I thought it was going to be." Leah shared that they had a lot of fun during the stunt training, and the crew were encouraging them to have laughs. Let's not forget that the actors are still at an age where they need education. They had to participate in classes and study while filming. Sat Sidhu was hired as the on-set teacher. After the wrap of the show, he shared a photo on his Instagram account where the main trio wears handmade graduation hats, which suggests that their studies were successful, even along with the long days on set. The filming of the first season was wrapped in the beginning of February. Walker shared a post in a truly Percy fashion announcement about the wrap on his Instagram account. He is holding a sign underwater. Walker being underwater in his Percy costume might be a sign that Percy might meet Poseidon at some point in season 1. And once again, Walker showed his sassy personality when he held another sign. Leah shared a photo of the main trio, the boys and her. With everything filmed, the show is now going into post-production. Rick took an educated guess and estimated the show's release in early 2024, as the post-production is a time-consuming process because building the fantasy world full of creatures and monsters is difficult to create. According to Riordan, the first season should be 8 episodes long, which isn't a lot, but it's better than a movie. But there are already rumors about the possibility of season 2, and the showrunners have a lot of material to cover. 4 more books of Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and later another 5 books of the Heroes of Olympus. Even if the wait will be a long one, the fans have something to look forward to. And with the involvement of Rick Riordan in the show is promising a very positive outcome which will please the book truthers. So what are your thoughts about Percy Jackson and the Olympians so far? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.